Hillary Clinton issued a statement, Jonathan, that was supportive but also cautious. She was saying this would be great if you get to the end, if you negotiate the hard things in details. But even she seemed to say, you know, I'm skeptical.
Well, she needs to carve out her own space in her campaign. And obviously, part of her calculation is the question about Israel. And obviously, the current government in Israel is vociferously opposed, as we know, to this deal. And she, of course, is mindful of how that plays in her own politics here stateside. What I've been struck by is sort of her caution and also the degree to which the Republicans want to sort of seize on this, but really every foreign policy issue that is now arising. And I think it's a calculation that they're going to be better off next year with a resurgent economy running against Democrats on national security. I think they have made that pivot. If you look at John Boehner's comments this week, this is the person who was talking about for the last, 3-4 years, where are the jobs, was the John Boehner mantra. Now he's saying in Jerusalem, the world's on fire. It's a very different approach, and I think it speaks to how they want to run next year.
You know, Clinton has this really unusual position in this because if the deal succeeds, she's going to be able to own a piece of that success. If the deal fails or it allows Iran to move toward a weapon, she's going to own a piece of that failure too. If you remember back to when this all came together and the administration was touting these secret talks that they had, I'm sure we all had this experience. People close to Clinton were calling around saying, hey, remember, this actually started under her. She was part of this. She dispatched Jake Sullivan, one of her top advisors, to Oman. Now, as this actually is moving closer to a conclusion, you see her displaying this caution because she knows there's a chance that this does not work out, and she is going to own some of that.
And you mentioned Rand Paul announces he hasn't said anything about this. His team has said that he's going down until he makes his announcement speech on Tuesday, that he's not going to talk about any current events. He's the one voice we're looking at here because he has said negotiate. He has said he's open to negotiate. He wants to see what the deal is, but he thinks if the choice is another war in the Middle East or trying to negotiate with Iran, to negotiate. Most of the other Republicans are pretty hawkish. A couple of examples. Jeb Bush saying nothing in the deal described by the administration this afternoon would justify lifting U.S. and international sanctions. I cannot stand behind such a flawed agreement. Marco Rubio, as you mentioned, who gets in a week from now, 8 days from now. This attempt to spin diplomatic failure as a success is just the latest example of this administration's farcical approach to Iran. You do see the hawkish wing of the Republican Party resurgent.
Well, I don't think there's any way a candidate for the Republican nomination can in one way or another suggest anything other than strict opposition to where things are at this point. We'll see as events unfold, but at this point, they have to be where the bulk of their party is, and that's firmly against it.
And we've seen Rand Paul going that way. We've seen him kind of joining up with the Hawks on certain issues, and so it's hard for me to think that he's really going to diverge from that path, the hawkish path, because it seems to be where he wants to be, so he sort of annihilates the narrative that he's an isolationist.
Is part of it, if President Obama is for it, they have to be against it?
Absolutely.
Or is it just that we can't negotiate at all because it's Iran?
No, I think there's a lot of politics in sort of being seen on the same page with President Obama, but I think it's also something that's more complex than that. I think there's an imperative towards strength in the Republican primary, and the assumption is that being strong means not, cutting deals with your adversaries. Now, obviously, historically, that's a little bit interesting because of Reagan's negotiations with the Soviets, but I think that is the sort of imperative now, and if President Obama is for it, putting aside the policy details, it makes it really tough for a candidate to also be for it if they're running a Republican primary.
And you have to remember that the Iran negotiations are not just about the actual talks that are happening. They are about Obama's larger foreign policy vision. Going back to his 2008 campaign, he was talking about being willing to negotiate with our enemies without preconditions. So this is either going to be a vindication of that approach or it's going to be a repudiation of it. And I think that is driving this as much as the actual policy nuts and bolts.
It was remarkable to watch both the president waiting and waiting so that he could make that announcement in the Rose Garden that they had the deal, and then the quick, instant reaction from Israel watching the President of the United States again in a fight with the Israeli Prime Minister, in addition to his critics back home. We will watch this one play out.